Very good morning, students. Welcome back to online class on Programming for Problem Solving course. In our previous video, we have discussed some examples for this complex structures. We have completed the last two types of complex structures, that is, structures containing pointers and array of structures. I have explained the concept and I have also given the example programs for each of these. And we said the array of structures concept, it is an long answer question and it is an important question. So already I have given one simple example program for that one, and we also discuss, because it is an important thing, so we also discuss this concept in your class, hopefully. So quickly in today's session we'll start a new concept which is closely related to your structures, that is unions. So what exactly this union, how it is, when we are saying it is closely related to structures and how it is different from structures, that also we have to discuss, and the differences between union and structure we need to discuss, and how we can do the declaration, definition, and initialization of this structure, union, so that we can use this union in our C programming, that also we will discuss. So if you read the first point over here, we are saying a union is closely related to structures. Okay, it is exactly similar to your structures. There is very little difference we see between a structure and a union, and it is also a collection of elements of different data types. Your union is also a collection of elements of different data types. That is nothing but it is a collection of heterogeneous data elements of different types. So um, then in what way this union is different from structure, in the sense, union being a collection being a collection of heterogeneous data element, it is behaving same like your structure, but there is a major difference between a structure and a union. What is that? In the sense, your union is a memory efficient way of uh, using heterogeneous data type. Okay, so we have, for this heterogeneous data type, we have two different things. The first one is structure, the second one is union. If you go with the structures concept, you will not see any memory efficiency over there. But if you go with this unions, it is an memory efficient technique. Okay, it is a memory efficient technique to use for heterogeneous data elements in your program. Yeah, we'll go into deep, how the what exactly this memory efficient means and how your union will become memory efficient way, everything we will discuss. So first of all, this unions concept, it is not there in your syllabus. Okay, it is not at all there in your syllabus, but they will ask the difference, because as we said it is closely related to structures. They will ask the difference between structure and union. So for that we need to be ready. Okay, so in that sense only I'm going to discuss. We are not going into deep in this particular concept, because we are expecting an SAQ only, not an LAQ. Rather, we are expecting an SAQ only from this concept. So that's the reason we are not going into deep. Okay, we'll have the knowledge what is a union and how we have to use it. Will have the knowledge, but not as we have discussed in case of a structure. We went into deep and we have seen many different concepts in structures, isn't it? So what exactly does memory efficiency means is, suppose, yeah, I will go to my whiteboard application. If you are declaring an integer, let us assume, if you're creating a structure, so what, how we are doing it, so let me just make it clear. Okay, so we are using type def keyword followed by struct keyword. Then in parenthesis we'll give our data types. Let us say we are using one integer, one character, Okay, and one character array, character ch of 2. Let us assume we are using like this. So how much memory, and here we have to give the structure name that I am giving like sample. So how much memory this structure sample will consume, in the sense, for integer to store, if it is a 32-bit compiler, we'll consider it as a 32-bit compiler. So for storing an integer, it will consume 4 bytes. For character, it is 1 byte. And for this character array, because it is an array of 2 elements, one character, one byte, so 2 character elements, 2 bytes. So overall, it will consume 7 bytes of memory. 7 bytes of memory. But in that same case, if you declare a union, okay, if you declare a union, I mean, the concept of declaring a union, it is same like your structure, with little difference. So here also we use the keyword type def, okay, followed by, instead of struct keyword, we use union keyword, union, okay, union, union. So here, let us, if I declare the same thing, integer a, character a, and then character ch of 2. So like this, I have declared my uh, what we call union. So here also I'm giving a name sample. Okay, so here also I'm giving the name sample. So now this sample, how much memory it will consume, in the sense, it will always allocate the memory which is sufficient to store the maximum data type. So this is very, very important. The memory which is sufficient to store the maximum data type, it will always allocate only that many bytes of elements, that many bytes of memory. So over here, it is allocating for all elements, it is allocating for all elements, but over here the union will allocate only for the maximum data type element. So over here in characters and in integers, what is my maximum data type element? That is integer, because it requires 4, whereas character, it requires only 1, and character array, it requires 2. So what it will do is, it will allocate 4 bytes of memory to store this entire union sample. So it will allocate only 4 bytes of memory. So that 4 bytes of memory, it will reuse for this character and for this character array. It will simply reuse. So how means, I will tell you. So yeah, here what will happen here, it will allocate 4 bytes for storing this integer, and for storing this character 1 byte, and for storing this character array 2 another bytes. Like this it will allocate. So 4 bytes, 1 byte, 2 byte. But over here what it will do, it will allocate only 4 bytes. It will allocate only 4 bytes, and it will reuse that 4 bytes for storing these 2 characters as well. For storing this two characters as well. So over here we can store all these individually. Let us say if I am storing some 792 as an integer value. If I am storing 7, so that is, if I store inside this a 792, then what will happen? So here that 792 will come like this, 792. And if I store some a character into this some b character into this a variable, then what will happen? That b will come over here. And over here, let us say I'm storing 2 different characters over here into this character array, that is y and z. So that y and z will come over here like this, y and z. But here in this union, that kind of thing is not there, because it is going to consume the same memory for storing all these. So at a time you cannot have all these variable values inside the memory. At a time you can have only one variable value inside the memory. So that is, if I store 792, that 792 will come over here. Okay, if I store this a, when I want to store this a value as b, then what will happen? We don't have any other memory location. So what it will do, it will replace this sum portion, because over here it needs only 1 byte to store this a. So what it will do, it will replace, I mean, it will consume this first byte and stores over here as the value b. Okay, the value b. So what will happen? It will override this stuff. So there is no more 792 now. it overrides the stuff and it places B over here. Then when we are storing Y and Z, then what will happen? It still replaces this portion and stores Y and Z likewise. So it is consuming the same location, memory location, for storing all these data variables, all these variable values, okay, all these variables data. So in that way, what will happen? At any point of time, you cannot have all these variables in the memory. At any point of time, you can have only one variable into this memory. You can either store A, you can either store this integer A, this character A, or this what we call character array. You can't store all these variables at once inside the computer memory. So this is our concept. So quickly go over here. The union, I mean the declaration, when we see, already I have shown you the declaration. The declaration, when we see, the union will also follow the same syntax as structure. Okay, same syntax as structure. The only difference between declaration of structure and union is that the keyword what we use in order to declare the union. For structure we are using struct keyword, and for union we are using union keyword. This is the only difference in declaration. For structure we use struct, for union we use union keyword. That's it. And rest of the things in terms of declaration, they are exactly same like your structures concept. So here you can see what I have done. Yes, here this type def union will declare my union, and here as it is going to share the same memory locations for storing all different types of variables. So for that sake, I have taken my union name as share data. I'm taking my name as share data. So here what I'm planning to store inside my union, I'm planning to store character array of 2 bytes. I'm considering this as 16-bit compiler. So 16-bit means character array will take 2 bytes, and integer variable will also needs 2 bytes. Okay, that 2 bytes, what I am doing over here, you can simply see this one, this entire portion here. This is first byte and this is my second byte. So 2 bytes. So in this 2 bytes, at one point what I am doing, I am storing the numerical value, integer value, that is 16,706. This value I am storing. And at another point, what I am doing, I am storing a character array, that is a character array of 0, character array of 1. So ultimately what will happen? It depends on what value you are initializing first. I mean, initializing the most recent. It depends on what value you are initializing the most recent. So suppose if you initialize the character array first, that is chary of 0 as A, then chary of 1 as B. So then what will happen? These two memory locations will get occupied by A, B like this, A, B like this. Then after this, what I have to do, whatever operations I want to perform, whatever manipulations I want to perform on these two variables, that I have to perform here itself. Because once I store this numerical value into this union, then what will happen? Once I store this numerical value into this union, yeah, these two memory locations will not be having A and B anymore, because these A and B will get replaced with this 16,706 value. So over here, when you are declaring, before initializing this array, I need a structure, I need a union data type variable. So that I can do like this: share data SD. Okay, so now using this SD, I can initialize this array. So how come? SD dot direct selection, SD dot direct selection, like this I can initialize. Now if suppose I initialize this numerical value, how can I do that one? SD dot num, SD dot num is equals to this value 16,706. I am initializing 16,706. Then what will happen? This 16,706 will replaces this A as well as this B, and this 16,706 will consume this entire 2 bytes of memory. Okay, so that is something. So dereferencing, I mean referencing individual elements from your union, how we can do that I have shown. That is using the dot operator. I have to, just now I have done share data, we have to create a variable share data, and using that share data dot identifier, I mean field identifier, we can access num, we can access array of 0, we can access array of 1. So very simple. If you have a pointer, in same like your structures, if you have a pointer to your union variable, then you need to use the indirect selection operator, that is arrow operator. About this arrow operator we have discussed in detail in your structures. So simply again, pointer when you have, and if you are storing inside this pointer a variable of what we call a structure, then pointer share data of num, pointer share data of character array of 0, and pointer share data of character array of 1. Like this you can access using arrow operator, that is indirect selection operator. You can access all three fields from the union. It is same like your structure. So initializing, okay, yeah, you cannot do the initialization, I mean basic initialization, when we are talking about unions, because if you do the basic initialization, simply what we said, the union will not allocate individual memories for all different data types. It will assume only the maximum data type memory, and it will reuse that memory for storing all the data type elements. So there is no concept of doing initialization with basic initialization. So definitely we have to go for individual element initialization, and whenever we are initializing some variable, some field inside a union, we need to be cautious, we need to be careful, because it is going to override, it is going to replace the previously initialized fields. Whatever fields you have initialized before this initialization, all those fields will be replaced. Okay, so overridden, all those fields will be overridden, so we need to be very cautious. So before going to the demonstration of these unions, I just want to demonstrate one thing, that is the bytes, number of bytes initialized to different types of variables in our C programming. So quickly go and see. So here stdio dot h. So then the next thing is int main of void. I'm not declaring any structure or union here. Simply what I will do, int a, character ch, float f, double d. Like this, I'm just declaring four different types of variables: integer, character, float, and double. So now I will printf memory for integer, memory for int, percentile d. How we can know the memory? In the sense, using size of operator. Already we discussed about this operator in your second unit. Okay, size of operator. Then printf. So simply that size of operator will print how many bytes you need for storing integer, and here same thing for character, how many bytes you need. So size of char, character. So it will return the number of bytes, how many bytes it needs to store a character, integer, likewise. Okay, so here memory for float, memory for float, that is percentile d, comma, size of float. Go to the end, close it, semicolon. Last one, memory for double, memory for double, put percentile d, comma, size of double. Go to the end and put the semicolon here. Save it, give some name to it, overwrite it. Now compile, compilation, hopefully it is successful. Yes, successful. Then execute. As you, okay, I need to put backslash n's over here, backslash n, so just to have line separation, backslash n, backslash n. Now save it, compile it once again, then execute it. See, when I'm printing all these, what it is saying, For integer, it is taking 4 bytes because we said it is a 32-bit compiler. Here, Dev CPP, it is a 32-bit compiler, so it is taking 4 bytes of memory for integer. So if you try the same program in your lab computers, you will get 2 bytes, okay, because there we are using Turbo C. It is a 16-bit compiler, so yeah, this will print integer as 2 bytes only. So for character 1 byte, for float also 4 byte, for double it is taking 8 bytes. Remember these sizes, okay. So quickly, so in when you are declaring an integer variable, in that integer variable memory you can store 4 character variables, isn't it? Because character is consuming only 1 byte and integer is consuming 4 bytes. So inside an integer, how many characters you can store? Inside an integer, 4 characters you can store. So with this understanding, we'll go and we'll see the unions program. So what I will do, I will declare one union, and in that union I will try to store 4 characters. So quickly, how come hash include, I'm writing my program, stdio.h, then declare the union. How come? Type def union. Union is the keyword, and here you put the fields, that is integer a and character. Declare the character array ch of 4, because we can store 4 characters inside an integer. We can store 4 characters. I'm giving my name as sample only. Then int main of void. So come down and create the variable for sample. Okay, sample usam, because it is union. Okay, usam. So now using this usam, I can declare integer. Okay, so first what you do, declare that integer usam dot a, that is integer, equals to some 16,706, 706, the value of integer. So now after this, whatever transactions, whatever manipulations you want to perform, here only you perform. That I want to add usam dot uh, a equals to, I want to add some 100, let us assume. That is usam dot a plus 100. So now print the value, printf, okay, manipulated integer data, manipulated integer data. What is that? Percentile d. Okay, then put usam dot a. That's it. We are printing that value. So far what we have done, that I want to show you. Go to the whiteboard. So far I have created a union, that is sample union I have created. Okay, so inside this sample, what we have, one integer a and another one character ch of 4, like this we have. So for storing both, how many bytes of memory we need? For storing not both, I mean any individual max, how many bytes of memory I need 4 bytes only. Okay, of course, for storing this 4, for storing this 4, but it will take only the maximum. So 4 is the maximum, so it will allocate only 4 bytes of memory. So when you create the variable sample, when you have created the variable sample usam, it has allocated these many bytes of memory, 4 bytes of memory. So now what I have done, I have stored usam dot a as 16,706. So what happened at this time? Here you got 16,706, like this. So after that, what we have done, usam dot a equals to usam dot a plus 100, like this we have done. So what happened at this stage? You got 16,706 plus 100. So this is 16,806. 806. It is placed inside this usam.a only. So here this value was replaced with 16,806, like this. So now in that 4 bytes of memory, we have this thing. We have this 16,806. So quickly go and print that one. I mean, already we have printed, isn't it? Already we have printed usam.a. So save it now, compile it, compilation successful, and check it. You manipulated integer data, you got 16,806. Okay, clear. So next thing what I am doing, I'm trying to initialize that character array. So usam dot character of 0. So what we are doing, we are manipulating the first byte. We are manipulating the first byte, and we will see what happens to our integer. Okay, what I have done, I have manipulated the first byte. So I am printing printf uh, integer backslash n, you take backslash n. We will see whether integer still there or not. Integer uh, colon percentile d comma usam dot c, no, not ch, a, usam dot a. We are printing integer data now. So what I have done, see, using, yes, in my next initialization I have done this one. So in my next initialization, that is usam dot a, we said usam, not a, sorry, usam dot ch of 0 we said, and we said capital A here. So this, in that 4 bytes, so in that 4 bytes, so what it was having, 16806 it was having. So now we replaced this first portion with this one. So what will happen ultimately, the, I mean, this value, it will get modified, isn't it? It will get a changed meaning now. It will get a changed meaning because the first byte of this 16806 we have modified. So it will get a changed value. So we'll go and we'll see whether actually it is going to I mean, affect or not. We will see. So already the program saved. Just compile it. Compilation successful. Now run it. See, when you have modified, when you have added that a to the first byte, then what happened? The value is changed. You got 16,705 over here. You got some different value. Okay, you got some different value. So again, you go over here and initialize the second portion, that is usam dot ch of 1. Okay, ch of 1 equals to, initialize to capital B. Okay, put the semicolon at the end. So now save it, then compile it, compilation successful. Now run it. See, value, it got modified more. Okay, you got some another different value, 16,961. I will try to modify one more byte, usam dot ch of that is 2. I want to store here some capital C. Okay, now save it, quickly go compile, run. See, it got still modified, some different value we are getting, unknown value. Once again, use the last byte, usam.ch equals to, sorry, of 3 equals to, of 3 equals to capital D. You put like this, go to the end and put the semicolon, save it. So simply it is replacing your integer. See, you got some very different value over here. Okay, integer. So likewise, previously we stored this one, but now this entirely got modified. So like this. So I will print all those characters as well, just for our reference. Printf, okay, characters colon, how many, percentile C, percentile C, percentile C, percentile C, 4 characters we have, comma. So that is usam dot ch of 0. Okay, comma, usam dot ch of 1, comma, usam dot ch of 2, comma, usam dot ch of 3. So likewise, we have printed all the characters from the union. Integers modified, but characters, because the most recent initialization is characters, so you are getting A, B, C, D here. I just need to put one backslash n in the beginning so that to get the values in a separate line, statement in a separate line, output in a separate line. So likewise, see here, first we stored this value, then we modified, so we are not having integers anymore. Then when we are printing the characters, we are getting the characters from that one, A, B, C, D. Okay, so likewise you can remember the union as the shared memory locations, the concept of sharing the memory location between the fields of its it is going to share the memory. Whatever maximum data type element you have, it will allocate only that many bytes of memory, and it will share between the fields. So this is the concept of unions. Okay, I have demonstrated the union as well. So our next concept in your fourth unit, that is recursion. It is also one of the important concept, recursion. So as I said, unions, they are not that much important. You can expect a question for short answer question from this concept. They just ask you the differences between structure and union, that we need to see. So here we have the differences. If you see differences between union and structure, so the only major difference you can see in the first point, that is basic difference I'm saying. Okay, the separate memory locations is allotted to each member of the structure. So what it will do, it will allot separate memory locations for each of its field. But whereas union, all members of the union share the same memory location, with example I have shown. And in the declaration, how they are different means, yeah, we need to give structure name. I mean if it is a what we call not type def but a regular type, tagged definition. If it is a tagged declaration, there will be no type def. Rather, what we use, struct followed by the uh, tag, and all the elements, I mean all the fields will put within the curly brackets, and at the end we give the structure variable name. So here also same thing. Instead of struct, we use the keyword union. That is the only difference. Instead of struct, we use the keyword union. Okay, keyword. What keyword we are using to declare a structure? Struct keyword. To declare a union, union keyword. Size. Size of structure is sum of all the data members. Sum of sizes of all the data members. So whatever data members, whatever fields you are keeping inside a structure, simply based on their data types, simply sum their number of bytes allotted. So you will get the size of the structure. But whereas for a union, it will allocate the memory required to store the largest data member. Whatever largest data member you have inside the union, the compiler will allocate only that many bytes of memory, and it will reuse for all other fields. Okay, store value stores distinct value for all the members. So you can store at a time, you can have all the data member values, all the data member what we call data inside your memory, because every data member is going to have its own separate memory. But whereas for a union, you can't do the same. You can't do the same. So what you have to do, you can store only one value at any particular instance. If you are storing, if you are going for another data member, the previous data member initialized will get overridden. Will get overridden. So at a time we can have only one value, and here we can have all data members inside the memory. So yeah, way of viewing, yeah, whatever manipulations you want to perform, whatever actions you want to perform when you are declaring a variable, you have to finish all those things, and then only you can go for second type of data member in case of a union, which is not there in structure. You can independently you can work on data members in structures. See, there is a feature called anonymous feature. Anonymous means you can declare, you can define a programming construct without a name. So this concept is not there. Basically, it is not there in C language. Oh, sorry, in your syllabus. It is there in your C language, but it is not there in your syllabus. So that's the reason we have not discussed this anonymous concept. So anonymous is something, using this concept we can declare a programming construct without a name. So this is something having a variable without an identifier. Okay, so This anonymous concept is supported in unions only. It is not supported in structures. So you can highlight this point as well. When you are writing the differences between structure and union, you can declare an anonymous union, but you cannot declare an anonymous structure. Okay. So these differences you have to understand and you have to remember. So quickly, as we said, there is one more concept we have left out in your fourth unit, that is recursion. So I will give the basics now related to this recursion, and the implementation and other stuff we will discuss in another video. So recursion is something, uh, we discussed the concept of functions. Okay, we discussed the concept of functions where we said we are calling a function from another function. So basically, whatever examples we have seen in functions, in all examples we are calling our user defined functions from the main function itself. We are calling our user defined function from the main function. So that is, we said our main function as the calling function and the user defined function as the what we call uh, called function. So in the concept of recursion, this is a very what we call famous concept in structured programmings. And being a structured programming, in C also we have this recursion concept, and it is a confusing concept, and moreover it is an important concept to discuss. Hopefully, without the knowledge of these functions, it is not possible to discuss the recursion. So that's the reason we waited till this point. So, and we moreover we need the knowledge of loops as well in order to understand the recursion. That is also another thing why they have included this recursion in fourth unit. So recursion is something where a function calls itself. I will give you the brief idea about it. So whenever we are writing a user defined function, so let us say my function name is sample. So how we generally do that one? So in the global declaration area, we declare our function. So generally, let us assume my function is not returning any value. I don't want to initialize my function call, so I'm taking void. Okay, my function name is sample, and I'm passing two integer type of variables, or else make it very simple initially. So the return, the parameter list is also void. So no input, no output. Then I'm writing my main function, int main of void. Okay. In this, I'm calling my sample function. Sample, how we call? Sample of. That's it. Close it. So what is missing in this program? The definition of sample is missing. So I'm writing that sample. Sample definition, how we can write? First you put the return type, that is void, then function name sample, then in parentheses put the parameter list, no parameter list, then don't put semicolon at the end. Here you write the statements related to this sample function. So this is how generally we use our functions. So this is my declaration. This is my calling, and this is my definition. So generally what will happen over here? So this is my calling function because it is calling my user defined function sample. So I said this is my calling function, and over here this is my called function, calling function, called function. Okay. So in general, always the calling function will call the called function. So whatever examples we discussed, we have called all our functions from the main function itself. So in all our cases, the main function was the calling function and the user defined function was the called function. But there are scenarios where you can also call the user defined functions from user defined functions. I will show you how. So this phenomenon, it is very simple. Take the same function, void sample void, sample of void, okay, then int main void, because first of all it has to be called from the main function itself, because main is the initiating point. So here sample, then when I'm writing the definition of sample, you just see I need to take this like this, okay. When I'm writing the definition of sample, void, inside this sample definition, once again I'm calling sample, once again I'm calling sample. So what is recursion? We said if a function calls itself. So over here sample is calling itself. Okay, over here sample is calling itself. I no need to write the definition once again, because already the definition is mentioned. So whenever the compiler sees the sample call, it will what we call, it will save its current status and it will directly go to the function call once again. It will directly go to the function call once again. This phenomenon we call it as a function recursion. Okay, where a function is calling itself, where a function is calling itself. So about this recursion we'll discuss in detail in our next session, in our next video, and with that we conclude your fourth unit, and in one more session or two more sessions I'm going to wind up the fifth unit as well. In your fifth unit, half of the fifth unit we already discussed. Don't think that we need to discuss the entire unit, okay, entire fifth unit. It is not like that. The pointers concept up to pointer arithmetic we have already completed. All the major concepts from this pointer we have completed up to pointer arithmetic. So we still left with only the self-referential structures as well as the files. Self-referential structures, it is not there. I mean, the implementation, it is not there in your syllabus. We need to discuss only the concept. But just for our understanding, because these are the basics to your data structures course, so I'm discussing that self-referential structures completely. Okay, I will also show you the basic implementation of self-referential structure, the linked list implementation, how we do generally. So that I will show you. I will not go into deep, rather will just have a introductory concept in linked lists. So because we have seen last time they asked this question, linked list question in your exam. Okay, they said in your syllabus, they said only to have the discussion, not the implementation, but they asked the implementation in your final exam. So definitely we need to be ready with implementation as well. So no worries, no doubts, we'll discuss the implementation. It is very easy. We'll discuss the implementation. So then afterwards, the files concept, it is as I said, it is a major concept. If you are going for application development, app development inside C language, you must have the knowledge of files, because files are the areas where you can maintain your data permanently. Okay, so very soon we will discuss that files also in your fifth unit. Okay, till that point, thank you very much, students.